I plunged the letter opener into his throat before he could finish begging for mercy. His eyes, my eyes, staring back from that familiar face, widened in betrayal, blood bubbling like accusations on his lips. But the real murder happened 5 years ago, when he stole my body and left me rotting in his, whispering that it was all for love. The fog in San Francisco that morning was thicker than my regrets, clinging to the Golden Gate like a bad habit nobody could shake. I remember it because that's the day everything shattered, not with a bang, but with the quiet click of a lab door locking behind me. My name is Skylar Voss. Or, at least it used to be.
Now?
Hell. I'm just a ghost in a suit that doesn't fit right, chasing shadows in a city that chews up dreamers and spits out the bones. It started in the labs of Voss Dynamics, the tech empire I'd built from a garage startup in Palo Alto to a Silicon Valley behemoth valued at $12 billion. I was the invisible architect, the one who coded the neural interfaces at 3 a.m. while nursing hangovers from investor schmoozes. The one who schmoozed the VCs when my husband, Ethan, flashed his Ivy League smile and let them think it was his brain behind the curtain. Ethan Voss, the golden boy from Harvard Business, with his chiseled jaw and that easy laugh that made boardrooms bend. We were the power couple, or so the Forbes spread said. Ethan and Skylar Voss, revolutionizing the mind-machine divide. But divide?
Yeah.
That's exactly what he did to me. That morning, I was in the sublevel lab, the one buried under the main campus like a dirty secret. Project Echo, our crown jewel, a neural swap prototype meant to let surgeons walk in patients' bodies for remote procedures. It was bleeding edge, DARPA-funded, the kind of tech that could rewrite medicine or, if you twisted it wrong, rewrite souls. I'd poured 3 years into it, skipping anniversaries, missing our dog's last breaths, all for that one breakthrough. Ethan called it our baby, but his eyes always lingered on the stock tickers more than the code. Skylark, he said, using that nickname that used to make my knees weak. Now just a hook in my gut. He was leaning against the console, arms crossed over his Brooks Brothers shirt, looking every bit the CEO he pretended to be. We need to talk. I wiped sweat from my brow, the hum of the cryo chamber vibrating through my bones. About the demo tomorrow? Senators are flying in from DC. If the sync rate holds at 98%, we're golden. He didn't smile. It's bigger than that. The board's jittery. SEC whispers about insider trading my trading, they say. But it's bullshit.
Right?
You handled the books. I froze, fingers hovering over the keyboard. I'd fudged numbers once. Just once. To cover a lab explosion that wiped out $2 million in prototypes. A momentary lapse, buried in offshore ledgers I'd set up myself. For us. For the company. Ethan, that was years ago. I cleaned it up. His face hardened, the way it did during those late-night arguments when he'd accuse me of being too obsessive about the work. Cleaned it up? Skylark. The feds are circling. If it comes out, we're done. Both of us. The chamber hissed open behind me, the neural harness glinting under sterile lights. My heart hammered, panic, not fear. I'd always been the fixer, the one who patched leaks while he posed for photos. What do you want me to do? Testify? Take the fall? He stepped closer, his cologne, sandalwood and ambition, choking the air.
No.
Something better. Echo can fix this. We swap.
Just for a week.
You and my body. Confess to the board it's a rogue employee scheme. They eat it up, hero CEO saving the day. Then we swap back. And it's like it never happened. I laughed, sharp and disbelieving. You're insane. The prototype's unstable. Reversal window is 72 hours max. And that's if nothing glitches. His hand gripped my shoulder, firm but not unkind. Trust me, Skylark. It's us against the world. Always has been. That was the betrayal's first cut. Deep. Surgical. The kind that doesn't bleed until later. I should have seen it in his eyes. The flicker of calculation. But love's a hell of a blindfold. We suited up in the harnesses. The gel pads cold against my skin. Wires snaking like veins. The chamber sealed, and the world dissolved into static. When I woke, it was to the taste of copper and the weight of broader shoulders. I was staring at my own face, pale, confused, framed by the lab's harsh fluorescence. Ethan's body, but my mind screaming inside. Ethan? My voice boomed out.
Deeper.
Unfamiliar. He blinked, sitting up in my slighter frame. Skylar? God. It worked. You feel. Okay. Disoriented. I stumbled to the mirror, confronting the man staring back. Ethan's sharp features. His 5 o'clock shadow. But the eyes were mine, dark, haunted. This is temporary.
Right?
Swap back tomorrow. He nodded. Too quick. Slipping into my lab coat like it was tailored for him. Of course. But first, the confession. Board meetings in an hour. You as me go in. Own it. Blame a fictional accountant. I'll handle the tech side here. I dressed in his suit, the fabric hanging heavy, and drove his Tesla to the executive tower in SF proper. The boardroom was a glass area overlooking the bay, filled with gray suits nursing lattes from Blue Bottle. They applauded when Ethan walked in, but I could feel the undercurrent, whispers about audits, sidelong glances. Ladies and gentlemen, I said, channeling his charisma, voice steady despite the vertigo in my skull. I've uncovered embezzlement. A trusted advisor, gone rogue. I've reported it to the SEC myself. Boss Dynamics stands clean. Questions flew. Who? How much? But I stonewalled, playing the noble leader. By the end, they were toasting him, with crystal tumblers of Macallan. Relief washed over me, mingled with nausea. One day down. Swap back. And we'd laugh about it over dim sum at Yank Sing. But when I returned to the lab that night, the chamber was dark.
Consoles wiped.
Ethan, still in my body, sat at my desk, typing furiously. Skylark. It went perfect. They're eating out of your hand. Our hand, I corrected, locking the door. Initiate reversal. Now. He hesitated, fingers pausing. That's when I saw it, the subtle shift in his posture, the way my own face twisted into something predatory. There's a complication. The SEC's digging deeper. They want records, personal ones. If we swap back now, traces of the anomaly show up. Neural logs. They'd trace it to Echo. Shut us down. Lies. I lunged for the console, but he was faster. My lithe fingers dancing over keys I'd taught him to use. Alarms blared. Lockdown sequence engaging. Ethan. What the fuck? I'm saving us, he hissed. Voice high and feminine, my voice. You take the fall. Fully. In my body. You confess everything. The fudges. The offshore accounts. Plead out. Do time in federal white-collar heaven. I'll run the company. Expose the rogue you as the villain. When you're out in 5 years, we swap back quietly. I'll have fixed everything. Horror clawed at my throat. This wasn't a fix, it was a coup. He'd planned it, the audits timed perfectly. The board primed with doubts about my obsessiveness.
The backbone? Me.
The code. The vision. The late nights holding it together while he networked and golfed at Pebble Beach. And now, he'd bury me in his skin. Let me rot for his sins. I swung at him, but he dodged, my own reflexes betraying me. A syringe jabbed my neck, sedative from the med kit. As darkness swallowed me, his words echoed. It's for the Empire. Skylark. Our empire. I woke in a holding cell at the federal courthouse in Oakland. Ethan's body cuffed to the bench. The arraignment was a blur. Charges of wire fraud, money laundering, conspiracy. The judge, a stern woman with a no bullshit bob, read them like a grocery list. How do you plead?
Mr.
Voss. Guilty, I muttered, because the plea deal was already inked. 5 years at FCI Dublin, the women's prison that doubled as a country club for white-collar crooks. Irony? It housed women, and Ethan's frame broad, unmistakably male, drew stares from intake. But the feds didn't care. Paperwork said Voss. Ethan James, and that's who I was now. Ethan, meanwhile, thrived in my skin. News feeds from the jail's communal TV showed him me, at press conferences, tear-streaked cheeks as Skylar Voss unveiled a new charity arm for the company, vowing transparency. My husband was under immense pressure, she said, voice cracking just right. I take responsibility for not seeing the signs.
Oscars worthy.
The stock soared 15% overnight. Prison was a slow bleed. Dublin's barbed wire framed views of rolling hills. But inside, it was concrete and regret. I lifted weights to bulk Ethan's frame, learned to mimic his swagger from smuggled magazines. Inmates called me suit, respectful, wary because even shackled, I carried the ghost of boardroom power. But nights, I'd trace the scars on his arms, tattoos from his frat days, a skull with crossed lacrosse sticks, and weep for my lost curves, my missing reflection. Letters came, filtered through lawyers. Ethan's notes. Signed, your devoted wife. Platitudes about visits, about how the company missed me. Bullshit. I knew the truth from the guards' gossip. Voss Dynamics was minting money. Echo fast-tracked to FDA approval under Skylar's genius. He'd poached my notes, my code, and sold it as his own. 2 years in, the first crack appeared. A contraband phone, passed from a cartel-connected lifer. Let me call an old Palo Alto contact. Lena, my former grad student. Boss, is that really you? Her voice trembled over the line. It's me, I growled. Ethan's timbre rough. Ethan's wearing my face. Check the lab archives, time-stamped commits from before the swap. My fingerprints on the code.
She did.
And God. The secrets she unearthed. Not just the fraud. Ethan had buried worse. Years back, a rival startup, Neuralink, had sued us for IP theft. I'd refused to settle.
But Ethan?
He'd paid off a whistleblower to plant evidence, framing their CEO for sexual harassment. The guy lost everything. Career, family, ended up jumping from the Bay Bridge. Covered up as suicide. I'd taken the heat in depositions, vouching for Ethan's hands-off management, because that's what wives do. Lena smuggled docs, emails, wire transfers.
Proof.
But when I tried to FedEx them out, the package vanished. Ethan's reach, our lawyers, his lobbyists in D.C., had eyes everywhere. By year 3, rage calcified into plan. Parole board loomed. Good behavior bought me a shot. I'd play reformed, emerge as Ethan Voss, the man who found God in stripes. Then, revenge. Not petty, Shakespearean. I'd claw back my body, expose him, watch his empire crumble like the fog burns off at noon. But first, survival. I studied the news, memorized my speeches. He was everywhere. TED Talks on empathy in AI. Galas at the De Young Museum rubbing elbows with tech bros and Hollywood transplants. Skylar Voss, the woman who humanized Silicon Valley. The irony tasted like prison chow, bland, overcooked. Parole hearing came on a drizzly October day. The panel, 3 suits, 1 ex-con counselor, peered at me through plexiglass. Mr. Voss, what have you learned? I leaned in. Ethan's charm dialed to 11. That power blinds you. I chased billions, lost my soul. My wife, Skylar, she's the real Voss. I owe her everything. They bought it. Released with a slap on the wrist, community service at a Oakland nonprofit, ankle monitor beeping like a guilty conscience. Stepping into the free world felt like rebirth.
Sour.
San Francisco had changed, more tense under overpasses. Waymos zipping past Teslas, but Ethan? He'd remade himself in my image. Billboards screamed, Skylar Voss for Senate. Yeah. He'd pivoted to politics, riding the tech wave into California's cutthroat arena. I rented a dingy studio in the Mission under a fake ID. Thanks, Lena, and plotted. First move, infiltrate. Voss Dynamics annual retreat at Big Sur. Off limits to ex-cons. But Ethan had allies. A forged invite from a sympathetic board ghost, and I was in blending as the humbled ex-CEO. There to mend fences. The cliffside resort reeked of money, ocean views, farm-to-table kale salads, mindfulness sessions with overpaid gurus. Ethan held court by the infinity pool, my body lithe in a white linen suit, laughing with donors. Seeing myself like that, poised, untouchable, ignited something feral. That night, during the bonfire storytelling circle, I cornered him. Skylark, he said, my voice smooth as he clinked a glass of Napa Cap. You look... well. Cut the shit. I grabbed his arm, my arm, hard enough to bruise. Swap back. Now. His eyes, my eyes, flashed amusement. Or what? You'll tell the world your husband's a body-snatching fraud? They'd lock you up in the psych ward. Not me in cuffs. You're done. I have proof. The Neuralink files. The bridge jumper. He had a family. They deserve justice. He leaned in, breath hot with wine. Justice? This is America.
Ethan.
Justice is for suckers. I built this, your code. Sure. But my vision. Senators in my pocket. Billions flowing. You're a spent cartridge. The fire crackled, masking my whisper. Enjoy it while it lasts. As the retreat ended, I slipped a bug into my phone case. Lena's tech. Reverse-engineered from Echo scraps. It fed me everything. Calls to DC. Fixers. Late-night trysts with a junior exec in the Napa Valley house we'd bought on our honeymoon. Betrayal layered on betrayal. But the real bomb? A encrypted drive mentioning Echo Phase 2, permanent anchor. He'd tweaked the prototype, made the swap irreversible without a kill switch only he controlled. Time to escalate. The ankle monitor chafed like a promise of chains yet to come, but it didn't stop me from tailing him through the fog-shrouded streets of Pacific Heights. Ethan's world, my old world, was a fortress of Victorian mansions and private security. But cracks show if you know where to press. I ditched the beater Chevy for a stolen e-bike, blending into the delivery rush of overpriced acai bowls and dry bar blowouts. He was heading to a fundraiser at the Fairmont, schmoozing tech packs for his Senate run. Schuyler Voss, innovator to legislator. The slogan made me gag. From a shadowed alley across from the hotel, I watched him glide in, my live stride, my dark hair pinned in that effortless chignon I'd perfected for board meetings. Flanked by handlers, he air-kissed donors, Mark Zuckerberg lookalikes in hoodies, venture vultures with Rolex subs. Inside, the ballroom glittered, chandeliers dripping like melting ice caps. String quartet murdering, California dreamin'. I couldn't get close. Not with the monitor's geofence. But the bug whispered gold. Darling, the polls are surging. A silky voice purred, Senator Elena Ramirez. His DC. Mentor. Audio crackling in my earbud. But that ex of yours. Whispers from Dublin. Keep him muzzled. He laughed my laugh. Light and deflecting. Ethan's a ghost. Community service has him scrubbing graffiti in the Tenderloin. Harmless. Harmless. The word fueled the fire in my gut. I pedaled back to the mission, mind racing. Lena met me in a taqueria off 24th Street, her laptop fortress amid plates of carnitas. Got more, she said, eyes darting like a cornered app developer. Echo's kill switch. It's biometric, tied to your original neural signature. But he's rerouted it through a black site server in Nevada. DARPA go stop. Get me in, I said, shoving greasy tacos aside. Hack it. Blow it up. Whatever. I want my body back. She chewed her lip, the way she did during thesis defenses. Risky. Feds monitor everything. And Schuyler, him, he's got IC on speed dial now. Post-election noise. Lena was my wild card, the loyal protege who'd idolized me since Stanford days. Asian American kid from the Valley, bootstrapped through comp sci on scholarships. She'd coded half of Echo's firewall.
Now.
She was underground, crashing on friends' couches, dodging Voss HR headhunters with fake LinkedIn profiles. For you,
Boss.
always. That week blurred into reconnaissance. By day, I slugged through service at the nonprofit, painting murals with at-risk kids in Oakland, flashing Ethan's smile while plotting his downfall. Mr. Voss, you ever think about second chances? A teen asked, spray can in hand. Every damn day, I replied, the irony thicker than the paint fumes. Nights, Lena and I burrowed into dark web forums, sourcing black market neural jammers from Eastern European coders. Cost me my parole stipend and a favor to a ex-inmate fixer. But we built a portable disruptor, crude, but enough to glitch Echo's anchors for a 30-second window. Enough to force a partial swap. Maybe yank him into limbo. But revenge isn't just tech, it's personal. I needed leverage. Something to make him sweat. The Neuralink files were step one. I anonymous dropped them to a ProPublica reporter, a dogged type named Carla Reyes who'd once profiled me as the quiet force of Voss. Her reply pinged Lena's burner. Intriguing. Meeting? We linked in a dive bar in Bernal Heights. Pool cues clacking like judgments. Carla was all sharp Bob and sharper questions. Nursing a Modelo. Suicide cover-up?
Heavy.
But why now? Ethan's the victim here. I leaned in. Ethan's gravel voice low. Because the victim's a lie. Ethan's wearing Skylar's skin. Check dental records from Dublin intake. Mismatch on the bridgework. Her eyes narrowed. Journalist's instinct flaring. Body swap? That's sci-fi.
Voss.
Prove it. Give me 48 hours. I slid a USB. Lena's prelim scans of Ethan's neural logs. Anomalies screaming, not original tenant. She pocketed it. Skeptical but hooked. Word spread like Bay Area wildfire. By dawn, Ethan's phone bug erupted. Panicked calls to crisis PR. Bury it, he snapped to his fixer. And find that leak. Double the detail on the X. The net tightened. My monitor buzzed warnings, curfew violations as I dodged tails in the hate. But the disruptor test run in Lena's makeshift lab? Success. A rat in a harness twitched. Swapped sense mid-zap. Crude. But proof. Climax brewed at the Senate primary debate. Moscone Center packed with activists and aides. Ethan Me was frontrunner, polling at 52% on a platform of tech for the people. Irony. The code he'd stolen could bankrupt the middle class with AI job wipes. But hey, soundbites sell. I couldn't crash the stage. But Lena could. She'd finagled press creds. Disruptor hidden in a camera bag. Plan, during the Q&A on ethics and innovation. Glitch the green room. Echoes, residual links, neural echoes, lingered in both bodies. A strong pulse could yank us halfway. Disorient him mid-sentence. Debate night. SF pulsed with pre-election buzz, food trucks slinging mission burritos. Protesters chanting outside. I watched from a van 2 blocks away. Lena's feed live streaming. Ethan strode on stage in my body, poised under Klieg lights, fielding zingers on crypto regs. Innovation thrives on trust, he said, my voice resonant. Not government overreach. Then, the moderator pivoted. MS. Voss. Allegations of corporate malfeasance in your husband's firm. Care to comment? The crowd hushed. My face flickered. A micro-twitch. Lena's signal. Go time. She slipped backstage. Palms sweating for the comms. Disruptor armed. Firing in 3.2. Static surged through the feed. On stage. Ethan faltered, clutching the podium.
Trust.
Yes. Trust is. His eyes rolled. My eyes, body convulsing subtle. Like a glitchy hologram. Chaos. Aides rushed. Medic called. But the partial swap hit me too in the van. Vertigo slammed. Visions flashing. My hands on the podium. His bulk in the seat. For 10 seconds. We overlapped, his thoughts bleeding into mine. Fear. Not remorse. She can't prove it. The kill switch, Nevada. Then snapback. Lena extracted. Debate cut short. Headline screamed, Voss collapses. Stress or scandal? He recovered in a private suite at UCSF Med Center. Spun as exhaustion from the campaign trail. But Carla's story dropped at midnight. Voss dynamics linked to rival suicide. Internal docs raise questions. Stocks dipped 8%. Donors ghosted. Ethan retaliated swift. My monitor went dead, tampered. Then black SUVs prowled the mission. Lena vanished mid-text. They're on to. I went dark. Holing up in a flop in the Tenderloin. Neon flickering through grimy blinds. Sleepless. I pieced the next move, Nevada. The black site. Buried in desert bunkers. Echo's cradle. DARPA contract meant guards. But Ethan's hubris, my old access codes, might crack the vault. Hitchhiking east on I-80. Ethan's frame drawing trucker stares. I replayed the buried secrets. Not just Neuralink, deeper. Our marriage? Built on his lie. Pre-Voss. He'd been a mid-level consultant, drowning in debt from coke-fueled weekends in the Hamptons. I'd bailed him out, forgiven the affair with my roommate at Stanford, poured my inheritance into the startup. He'd whispered promises in the back seat of my '98 Civic. But the betrayal? It festered. The swap wasn't impulse, it was culmination. He'd logged my therapy sessions, OCD rants about control, twisted them to the board. Skylar's unstable. Planted the audit trail to force my hand. Nevada loomed, flat and unforgiving as regret. The site, an unmarked compound off 95, razor wire glinting under harvest moon. I approached on foot, dusk swallowing my shadow. Backpack heavy with Lena's blueprints. Perimeter patrol, 2 MPs. AR-15 slung casual. I waited, pulse thundering, then triggered a diversion, smoke bomb from the fixer, billowing like a dust devil. Scaled the fence, barbs snagging Ethan's wool coat. Inside, concrete warrens, hum of servers. Echo Phase 2 lab unlocked with a ghosted RFID. My biometrics echoing faint. Consoles glowed. Kill switch pulsing on a central drive, a sleek obelisk. Neural web alive. Fingers flew. Old muscle memory. Uploading a worm from Lena's last drop. Reversal initiated. The screen blinked. Alarms wailed distant. Time slipping. But footsteps echoed. Door burst, Ethan. In my body. Flanked by feds. Predictable, he sneered. My face a mask of triumph. You always were the planner. Skylark. But I wrote the endgame. He held a tablet, Lena's disruptor schematic.
Betrayed.
She sang for immunity. Loose ends. Darling. Gut punch. My Lena flipped. For what? A clean slate? Rage blinded. I lunged, tackling him, me, across the console. Feds shouted. Tasers crackling. But the worm dug deep. Electricity arced. Chamber igniting in blue fire. Neural storm hit. Bodies inverting. Minds tearing. I felt it. My essence ripping free. Slamming into flesh that fit like homecoming. But twisted, his memories flooded. Unfiltered. The affair? Dozens. Not one. The suicide? He'd pushed the rival. Whispered doubts in divorce proceedings till the man snapped. And me? Collateral. She'll take the fall. She's tougher. Swap locked. I gasped in my body, curves familiar. Voice mine, collapsing as feds swarmed. Ethan, back in his skin, writhed on the floor, eyes wild. What have you done? Justice, I whispered. Cuffs snapping sweet. Dawn broke over the desert like a hangover. All harsh light and no mercy. The feds hauled us out in separate choppers, me. Finally me. Wrists zip-tied but soul intact. Ethan. Sputtering in his reclaimed bulk. Medics pumping him with tranks. The black site swarmed. Black badges from Langley. DARPA suits barking orders. The worm's damage quarantined, but not erased. Echo, dead in the water. Neural logs spilling like confetti at a funeral. Interrogation room at a Reno field office. Sterile box. Two-way mirror sweating condensation. Agent Hale, square-jawed. Coffee breath, leaned across the table. MS.
Voss.
Or should I say,
Mr.
Voss. Walk us through it. I sipped lukewarm Folgers, savoring the femininity of my hands, nails chipped but mine. Start with the swap. 5 years ago. He needed a fall guy for fraud I covered. Used our prototype to pin it on me in his body. Hale's pen scratched.
Skeptical.
Body swap.
Right.
And the DARPA tie-in? Off books. He leveraged it for the cover-up. Neuralink suicide? Orchestrated. Docs are with ProPublica, check your inbox. He did. On a secure tablet. Face paled as files loaded. Emails timestamped. Bank trails to shell companies. Ethan's empire. Built on my back. Now a house of cards in the crosshairs. Next door. Ethan's meltdown filtered through vents. Denials. Pleas for lawyers. It's her. Skylar's unhinged. Always was. But the logs betrayed him. Neural imprints proving occupancy mismatch. Science doesn't lie. People do. By noon, Carla Reyes arrived. Notebook in hand, eyes gleaming like a wolf on venison. Skylar? Jesus. The stories I'll write. We huddled in a holding lounge. Feds granting supervised access. PR spin for the cooperative witness. Tell it all, I said. Voice steady for the first time in years. The betrayal. How he wore me like a costume. Fucked interns in our bed. Ran for Senate on stolen dreams. She nodded. Typing furious. Twist. You in his skin. Plotting from prison. That's gold. Wrongful conviction meets sci-fi revenge. Make it human, I countered. The backbone? Women like me. Grinding unseen while men pose. He didn't just steal my body, he erased my legacy. Her piece hit wires that evening. The swap that shook Silicon Valley, how one woman's body became her husband's get-out-of-jail-free card. Twitter, X, whatever, exploded. Voss swap trended. Memes of split-faced Ethans. Think pieces on gender and power in tech. Feminists hailed me a martyr. MAGA types decried deepfake psyops. Controversy?
Check.
Voss dynamics tanked, stock halted. Board fleeing like rats from the Presidio. Senate run? Vaporized. Donors sued for fraud. Elena Ramirez distanced with a mealy-mouthed tweet. Shocked. Standing with victims of deception. But freedom? Not yet. Feds held me 72 for processing psych evals. Neural scans confirming original tenant. Ethan? Charged federal. Fraud. Conspiracy. Manslaughter on the Neuralink guy. Bail denied. His money couldn't buy the skin. Lena? The betrayal stung deepest. I confronted her via video link from protective custody, her face pixelated. Eyes downcast in a safe house. He offered clean slate. Job at Meta. No extradition. But Skylar.
I.
Saved your ass. I finished.
Cold.
Mine too. In the end. We're square. But don't call. Forgiveness? Maybe later. America loves redemption arcs. But grudges fuel the plot. Release came a week later. Media circus at SFO. Flashbulbs popped like gunfire. I shielded my eyes, descending ramps in a borrowed pantsuit from Voss's ruins. Reporters shouted, Skylar, revenge or justice? Will you sue? I waved them off. Throat tight. Justice? Half. The real payback brewed quiet. Settled in a condo overlooking the bay, company severance. Ironic. I rebuilt. First call, the Neuralink widow. Maria. Now in Seattle with 2 teens. He mentioned you, she said, voice cracking over Zoom. Before the end. Said Voss stole everything. We talked hours. Her loss. My theft. Founded a fund in his name, Tech Ethics Watchdog. Pro bono audits for startups. Catharsis. Or cover.
Both.
Ethan's trial-dominated fall feeds. Federal courthouse in SF. Jury of tech-adjacent civilians, Uber drivers. Baristas with side hustles. Prosecution painted him monster. Charming sociopath. Puppeteering wife like a drone. Defense? Mutual consent gone wrong. Marital strife amplified by innovation. I testified day 3. Striding the stand in heels that clicked like verdicts. He didn't just frame me, I said. Locking eyes with him across the room, his face bloated.
Defeated.
He buried me alive. Wore my skin to galas. Signed bills in my name. Slept with my reflection. That's not love, that's erasure. Gasps rippled. Ethan squirmed, whispering to counsel. Cross-exam? Brutal. MS. Voss. You enabled the fraud. Co-conspirator? I fixed his messes. I shot back. Because that's what backbones do. Hold up the weight till it crushes you. Jury deliberated 14 hours. Guilty. 20 years. No parole. He lunged at the bailiff post-verdict, screaming my name, Skylar, like a curse. Cameras caught it all. His unraveling viral. Aftermath? Bittersweet champagne. Voss dynamics dissolved. Assets auctioned for victims' funds. I pivoted. Consulted on AI ethics. Keynote at South by Southwest on the cost of invisible labor. Women DM'd. You're us. Thank you. But nights. The swap's ghosts lingered. Phantom itches where his tattoos scarred my memory. Twist came spring. Subpoena from Ethan's appeal. His lawyer, a sleazy ambulance chaser from the valley, claimed new evidence, a diary, my handwriting, detailing plans to sabotage the company. Forged? Maybe. But pages described the lab tweaks, the offshore setups. My words, damning me as instigator. Panic clawed. Had he anticipated? Planted during the swap. Neural imprinted? I hired forensics, sync analysis, digital traces. Verdict, pre-swap. From my old desk journal. But entries? Post-dated. Anomalies screaming tamper. Digging deeper. Via private eye, a grizzled ex-SFPD named Ruiz, I uncovered the bomb. Ethan's twin. Fraternal. Estranged. A black sheep hacker rotting in Reno, low SEC. Brotherly pact. Frame the wife. Split the spoils. Twin wore Ethan's face in depots. Testified to my volatility. The suicide? Join up. Twin handling the whispers. Rage 2.0. Ethan hadn't acted alone. He'd cloned his sins. The appeal hearing loomed, could spring him on insufficient singularity. I geared for war. Ruiz tailed the twin to a dive casino outside Vegas, where he drowned parole in blackjack and jack. Ambush. I confronted him in a neon-lit alley. My silhouette fierce under sodium glow. You look just like him, the twin slurred. Cigarette dangling. The better version. You're the knockoff, I said. Voice steel. Tell the truth. Or I leak your role, the hacks, the payoffs. Your stretch jumps from 5 to life. He laughed. Bitter. Ethan's vision. Not mine. He hated you, the chain, he called you. Said swapping would free him.
But you?
Broke him. Plea bargain. Testify against Ethan for reduced time. Appeal crushed. Twin got 10. Ethan life without. But the real reversal? In the courtroom's hush. As hammers fell, Ethan's eyes met mine, not hate, but hollow. You win, Skylark, he mouthed. But the company's ghost haunts us both. He was right. Victory tasted ash. Summer settled over the bay like a truce. Humid and uneasy. Wildflowers pushing through cracks in the asphalt as if nature gave zero fucks about human wreckage. I'd won, body reclaimed, empire ashes, betrayer caged, but victory's a hollow suit, tailored too loose after years of wearing someone else's skin. The condo overlooked the bridges, Alcatraz a squat reminder in the mist. But sleep evaded, haunted by echoes, his cologne on pillows. My laugh in empty rooms. Rebuild started small. Therapy with a hate street shrink, Dr. Navarro. All empathy and essential oils, unpacked the trauma. You didn't just lose your body, she said one session. Incense curling like questions. You lost yourself. Reclaim it, piece by piece. Piece 1, the body. Gyms in the marina. Yoga flows sinking breath to bay waves. The curves returned. Stronger, tattoo removed. A keloid scar like a badge. Piece 2, the mind. I coded again. Open source neural ethics toolkit. Shared on GitHub for scrappy startups dodging the Voss curse. Skylar's Safeguard, the community dubbed it. Irony? It went viral. TEDx invite following. Piece 3, connection. Dated a barista-turned-novelist from the Castro, Javier. With inked forearms and stories that unraveled like fog. First kiss under Lombard Street's twists felt foreign. Thrilling. My lips. My choice. But mid-make-out. Phantom surged. Ethan's bulk pressing. Possessive. I pulled back. Ghosted for weeks. Trust? Shattered mosaic. Public life pulled harder. Oprah wanted the tell-all, Netflix pitched Swapped, a Silicon Valley scandal. I demurred, privacy over payday, but keynote Davos. Voice amplified on stages from Austin to DC. Power isn't seized, it's steward, I'd say. Crowds nodding. Women approached post-talk, execs, coders, moms grinding unseen. You voiced it. Validation. Bittersweet. But the twist, the real gut punch reversal, hit autumn. Subpoena from an unlikely source, Maria, the widow. Not accusation, alliance. Found this in his effects, she emailed. Attachment heavy. Ethan's safe deposit box. Cracked post-conviction. Letters. My stationery. Dated pre-swap. Confessions, not his. Mine? No. Drafts of a suicide note. Forged in my hand. Blaming Voss for the rival's jump. But buried deeper, a video file. Time-stamped wedding night. 2012. I played it alone. Wine glass trembling. Our vows exchanged in Napa Vineyard. Sun dipping gold.
Post-ceremony.
Champagne loose. Ethan pulled me aside. Skylark. Truth time. Camera caught his face, earnest, then cracking. The debt? Not just coke.
I
borrowed from your folks' trust. Before we met. To impress you. My younger self laughed it off on tape. Water under the bridge.
Babe.
We're building empires now. But the file's metadata? Altered. Ruiz's forensics confirmed. Ethan had edited post-swap. Splicing to frame me as knowing accomplice. The trust? My parents' life savings, sunk into Voss seed round. I discovered year 2. Forgiven because love or codependence blinds. He'd gambled it away, not borrowed. Reversal. I wasn't the fixer. I was the mark. The fraud? His from inception. My covers mere band-aids. The swap? Not to frame a lapse, but to bury the origin sin. He'd warned me to launder his crimes, parade as the innovator saint. Rage reignited, but matured less fire, more forge. I sued the estate, wrongful imprisonment, emotional distress. Windfall?
Million.
Funneled to the ethics fund. Maria and I co-chaired it, her steel complementing my code. For the ones who jump, she'd say, toasting with herbal tea at board meets in Oakland lofts. Ethan? Heard whispers from the pen, ADX Florence. Supermax Solitude. Appeals exhausted. He penned me actual letters, smuggled via guards. Skylark, you were always the better half. Forgive, I burned them. Ashes scattered from the Golden Gate, joining the currents. Ending? Debatable. As promised. Happy? Surface. Book deal pending. Backbone, a memoir of stolen selves. Javier back in orbit. Fund thriving. Senate? Floated my hat. Progressive tech reform. No skeletons. Tragic? Deeper cuts. Trust fractured. Body a map of invasions. Legacy tainted by his shadow. Did I win? Or just survive? Walks along Ocean Beach clarify. Waves crashing indifferent. America's grind, hustle, betray, rinse, mirrors the tide. I was the backbone, snapped but mended crooked. No one realized till too late? Bullshit. I did. And that's the revenge that sticks. Knowing your worth, even when they try to wear it away. Last hook, yesterday. A package arrived, no sender. Plain wrap. Inside, a neural harness shard. Etched echo lives. DARPA?
Twin?
Or Ethan's final taunt from the void. I dropped it in the bay.
But sleep?
Still fitful. The swap's not just bodies, it's souls. And mine? Forever divided.